Hello and welcome. Today on the third lecture of seventh week, let us talk about the Affiliation sector. So, how the nature based solution and the nature based solution helps in climate mitigation as far as the Affiliation, that means agriculture, forestry and other land uses are concerned. As we have already discussed, Affiliation is one of the important sector where we all are seeing that lot of activities we are modifying the agriculture areas, we are also converting lot of forested area for other land uses. So, this dominantly the activities falls under the terrestrial system, dominantly we are experiencing, we are seeing it happening. So, this is one of the important sector which we all are realizing and experiencing. So, knowing about the nature based solutions for climate mitigation or nature based climate solution and its benefits or its benefits to the Affiliation sector is very important for all of us. So, to discuss that we will take the concepts as far as the nature based solutions, and we will discuss that how it makes or it becomes the cornerstone as far as the nature based solution is concerned, this Affiliation sector. And we will also discuss the key contributions of Affiliation towards climate mitigations, and as far as the agriculture is concerned, we will see that how maximum benefit and organizational framework in terms of is realized in the agricultural sector. We will also try to see as far as two examples from Bolivia and Tanzania are concerned in terms of the indigenous land tilting and also the farm led pasture management. So, the first one which is practiced and serves as an example to the rest of world very well tells that how the soil erosion, the soil conservation can well be managed by this indigenous land tilting activities. And we will also see in terms of Tanzania how a group of people, they are actually lot of people in Tanzania are practicing this farmer led pasture management. So, the pasture are being managed by the farmers, and we will also try to see what are the barriers and the way in terms of benefits or the mitigation as far as the Affiliation sector is concerned from the nature based solutions. And then as far as Government of India is concerned, we have also a lot of schemes enroll. So, we will just spell out a few schemes which will also within the sector of nature based solutions towards climate mitigation. Towards this, in terms of the cornerstone, yes, this nature based solutions, or we say the nature based climate solution, this offer a unique, cost effective and readily available pathway as far as the greenhouse mitigation or the climate change is concerned. So, it is cheap, that means cost effective, it is unique, all of us can practice, all of us are doing it, but we also need to realize and modify it to harvest its maximum benefit, and it is readily available. And then while the sector accounted, this Affiliation sector is accounting approximately up to 13 to 21% of the global anthropogenic greenhouse gases emission, as we discussed in our previous classes. So, this much of emission has been already accounted in the past century during 2010 to 2019. So, what it means to manage this Affiliation sector is very important, and that too manage it using the nature based climate solution principle is really vital. The sector, this Affiliation sector has the potential to provide 20 to 30% of the global mitigation that is needed for or needed to retain the temperature rise target, or to match with the temperature rise target of 1.5 or 2 degree centigrade by or around 2050. So, this helps. So, the main point here is it has a potential to provide 20 to 30% of the global mitigation. So that is why it makes it is very important in terms of this sector, FLU sector. So the corroboration 13 to 21% already the greenhouse gas emission in terms of global anthropogenic component is concerned is coming from the anthropogenic sector is already we have seen. But in terms of potential, it has potential to what you say contribute to the global mitigation to the tune of 20 to 30%. So we have a plus. So let us understand and let us see what can be done under this for this FLU sector under the banner of nature based climate solution. And apart from that, through this nature based climate solution in FLU sector, we also derive other co-benefits in terms of biodiversity conservation, that means restoring ecosystems that protect habitats. We also receive improved ecosystem resilience, which enhances the capability of landscapes to withstand climate shocks. And then the rural sustenance supports food security and also provides livelihood for local communities. These are all the co-benefits as far as the FLU sector, the nature based solutions offers in terms of the to the FLU sector. Coming to the key contributions, in terms of the key contributions there are three main pillars. One is the enhancing removal, that means carbon sequestration, or you say removal of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere in terms of carbon sequestration, and then reducing the emission to the atmosphere, and second is the substitution. So let us see in terms of the carbon sequestration and reforestation, so which we take under the afforestation, reforestation and revegetation category, often abbreviated as ARR, are the key nature based solutions, or you say the key nature based climate solutions. They contribute to significant carbon uptake in forests and soil. The forest management, including the reduced deforestation and degradation. So REDD, reduced emission from deforestation and degradation, also is addressed if we manage the forest well. So first component is forest carbon, the carbon sequestration and reforestation. The second part is sustainable agriculture and soil management. So implementing sustainable agricultural practices such as no-till farming, agroforestry and nutrient management, they restore soil health and carbon, acting as a massive sink. Wetland restoration and conservation, WRC, protecting and restoring the wetlands, peatlands and coastal ecosystem is crucial, as these areas store vast amounts of carbon. And the fourth is improved forest management in terms of protection of management, enhance their carbon storage capacity and resilience. So maximum benefits and organization framework is concerned in terms of the agriculture. Yes, irrigation, soil and water harvesting programs have increased the gross irrigated area substantially over any nation including India. So investments in terms of nature based solutions such as crop diversification, community based fodder banks, soil and water conservation structures, crop residue management and the nutrient management, and also the tillage and the effective agro advisory, weather based crop insurance, all these all fall under the investment under the nature based solution or nature based climate solution umbrella. So this realizes or lead to maximal benefits or co-benefits as far as the food security is concerned and the climate mitigation is concerned. So nature based solution can provide an organizing framework to bring together various stakeholders in agriculture such as the farmers, the agri market players. Look at the players, the farmers, the people, they produce the crops, the agri market players, the value chain suppliers, and civil society, citizens and policy makers, all of them, there need to be a kind of organized framework, so that the maximum benefit will be realized or optimized in terms of various stakeholders in terms of the agriculture sector. Coming to the various Affiliation activities. The Affiliation activities in term are accounted for about 23% of net anthropogenic emission, as we mentioned here. Between 2010 to 2019 we have seen in terms of estimated. So, the net anthropogenic emission of greenhouse gases during 2007 to 16 is 12 plus or minus 3 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent per year, which also include other well mixed greenhouse gases such as methane and nitrous oxide. So, the adoption of nature based solutions for just 3 activities, particularly fertilizer use, zero tillage and rice water management, could provide more than 50% of the total climate mitigation potential in the agriculture sector. Now, let us move on to understanding what are the options and as far as the food security is concerned in terms of climate adaptation, mitigation, risk reduction and biodiversity conservation coming from the nature based solution prospect. In terms of climate adaptation, as far as the nature based solution is concerned, climate smart agriculture, the soil and water conservation activities, groundwater recharge, crop insurance activities, the crop diversification, intercropping and intensification, water harvesting structures, early warning systems and agricultural extension. Many of these are attributed under the nature based solutions, and they help towards adaptation activities as far as the climate is concerned. In terms of the mitigations, the solar pump irrigation, underground the soil and water conservation, agroforestry, the multi-layer farming, these all fall under the nature based solutions. And similarly, as far as the disaster risk reduction is concerned, the promotion of climate smart agriculture practices by supporting various nature based activities, the climate smart crop production and diversification and climate smart aquaculture activities, post harvest and management activities, and also market and agro business promotion and capacity building activities are well coordinated under or can be well coordinated under the nature based solutions. And coming to the biodiversity conservation, grain seed banks in terms of GSBs and the nurseries, restoration and revival of ecosystem services, and agriculture landscape planning. Let us take examples, 2 examples as far as the world is concerned. These 2 examples come from the first one come from the Bolivia. Look at the diagram, the picture on the upper left corner. So, this talks about indigenous land tilting and forest management. So, the indigenous council of Takana people, they manage up to 390 kilo hectare of ancestral 90 90 K or 90,000 390,000 hectares of ancestral land. So, these lands are managed by the indigenous council. It is a huge land which goes up to 390,000 hectares. And then it is projected that 13 million tons of avoided carbon dioxide emission. So, because of this management, it is projected that about 13 million tons of carbon dioxide emission could be avoided, and this have been reported in terms of reduced slope erosion. So, because of this practice, the erosion at the slopes or because of the slopy land could be reduced, and habitat for more than 50 endangered species, sustainable livelihood in terms of agroforestry. So, all these benefits are received, and this helps towards mitigation, adaptation and biodiversity conservation. So, also contributing to livelihood rights. Let us see how they do it. So, in terms of this, there are 7 key indigenous soil conservation techniques. The first one is construction of the small stone walls. The small stone walls are the pyracas. The pyracas are built across slopes to act as barriers against soil erosion, breaking the force of wind and slowing the water runoff. So, whatever the stone, the small stones or the pebbles are available near around the land or the near around the agricultural land, they can be brought in the principle of nature based solution and can be converted to small stone walls, and these stone walls will act barrier in terms of soil erosion and breaking the force of wind and slowing down the water runoff. Now, moving to the second key technique is the live barriers. So, farmers they plant rows of native plants such as wild shrubs, grasses and the cacti or cactus kind of things along the field edges. Friends, always you will see in India also or in our wherever you see, our farmlands have been given a kind of either a mud wall or a kind of small stone walls to separate one from the other. That is also a kind of indication that one land the land owner are different or could be different. But from this point of view, from the climate and soil conservation point of view, farmers also go for the live barriers in terms of what you say row of native plant plantation, hedge, shrub, grasses and all these things. So, these edges the function of the permanent wind break. So, in terms these barriers they slow down the wind and also trap the wind blown soil particles, they trap it there, it does not allow it to move beyond. So, later on it can also be deposited within that small piece of land, but maybe at one end. So, where you have the barrier or the live barrier. The third point is terracing. In steep areas, indigenous communities use ancient terrace farming, which involves carving hillsides into flat steps. This technique reduces the speed of water runoff and prevents soil from being washed away, while improving the water infiltration. So, the fourth one is contour farming and furrows. So, what is the plowing is conducted along the natural contours of the land rather than up and down slopes. So, along the natural contours if we do, then it will minimize the water driven erosions. As we discussed in terms of the other one, the previous one in terms of terracing, in the steep slopes these communities they use ancient terrace farming, which involves carving hillsides into flat steps. So, this technique reduces the speed of water runoff. So, which was a faster runoff, it gets a break, and this thereby prevents the soil from being washed away. So, thereby it improves the water infiltration at that point to the ground. The fifth point is the native legume and cover crops. Friends, as we know, in terms of crop rotation, we also practice the crop rotation in terms of rotating between the legume crops and the kharif crops. Legume crops they have lot of NIF genes, nitrogen fixing genes, and so that is why the nitrogen which is fixed by the rabi crops are taken by the kharif plants or the plants that are cultivated during the kharif season. So, that they go in a kind of complementary way. So, this intercrop or the crop rotation is very important. It protects the soil from the wind erosion as well as enriching the nitrogen, which is one of the important nutrients or one of the important plant nutrients that helps in growth. The sixth one is the regenerative tillage and soil management. Rather than deep plowing, which can increase erosion on sandy soils, some communities have moved towards minimizing soil disturbance. This includes using organic amendments and planting native vegetation in areas with over 50% bare soil. water harvesting systems such as geocharge, ancient Andean techniques like geocharge, small artificial ponds or basins are restored to catch the rainwater. So, this geocharge or the small water harvesting structure, these systems they prevent soil erosion also in terms of allowing the controlled irrigation and lot of recharging of the groundwater. So, all these 7 key benefits in terms of these indigenous soil conservation techniques are being practiced, and this serves as a example to the rest of the world, which is given or which is practiced by the tribal communities or the indigenous community in Bolivia. Let us take another example as far as the Tanzania is concerned. So, it is a farmer led pasture land management system with some kind of silvopastoral system. So, the traditional silvopastoral system in the native language called Nigti, this protects patches of native vegetation from livestock, opening them up in dry seasons when feedstocks are low. So, if we protect it and open these small patch of vegetation for the livestock to graze during the dry season, that means they have a base to eat or graze and live, because in the non dry season they get the grasses and other leafy materials from other places, from other vegetation materials. But if we return something for them during the dry season to be opened up, that means they get the food all through the year. So, enhanced soil carbon and biodiversity likely, but not quantified. So, because of this pasture land management, there must be the soil SOC or soil carbon recharging, and also biodiversity growth or biodiversity maintenance also may be there, and reports of reduced soil erosion and enhanced soil fertility and year round food security have been confirmed. So, let us see how they do in terms of these 5 points. So, this Nigitli system, what we say, the traditional enclosure. So, farmers and the pastoralists, they set aside specific areas of lands which called the Nigitli. So, one part of the land they keep aside out of the cultivated area. So, some part they keep reserved from the very beginning of the rainy season, and that part is restricted for the livestock to access for grazing purposes during the non dry season. That means it is allowed for grazing only during the peak dry season, when in other places the feedstock is not available. So, that means it provides a critical feed bank during the dry season. Restoration and sustainability, this method mitigates land degradation, enhances biodiversity, improves water retention, and acts as climate change adaptation strategy. Farmer managed natural regeneration, FMNR. So, that means farmers they manage the regrowth of the trees and shrubs in pastures, which are often regenerating from root stock and seeds dispersed by animals, thereby contributing to the fodder production. Coming to use of modern technologies. In many regions, this community based monitoring is used. The local groups they collect the data, pasture conditions and all this, the grass height and bare height using the remote sensing and GIS technique, and also using the smartphones, and they operate it. So, it is extremely important to do this and to realize the benefit of the modern technology as far as managing the pasture. So, this also, though it is not a nature based solution in general, but it is a clean and green and safe technology mostly. Then coming to the institutional framework, yes, there needs to be some kind of local institutions set by the laws to regulate access to grazing, thereby reducing conflicts and securing tenure, particularly through joint village land use planning called JVLUA in terms of the abbreviation in the pasture areas. Now with this friends, let us have a look at the barriers that hinder the evidence based integration as far as the nature based solution is concerned. Challenges in measuring or predicting the effectiveness of nature based solution lead to high uncertainties about their cost effectiveness compared to the alternatives. Poor financial models and the flawed approaches to economic appraisal lead to investment. So the financial models are have lot of flaws, so they needs to be worked on, means have to be improved upon, and so that a good economic appraisal model can address to under investment as far as the nature based climate solution is concerned. And the inflexibility and highly sectorized form of government of the governance. So what happens? In terms of any kind of governance, we are having a mindset that we will go for a gray engineered infrastructure or intervention. So that mindset also has to be rethought, and we need to see that if they can be replaced with, first can be thought that whether even if it comes at a little higher cost, if that can be first addressed in terms of a nature based solution instead of jumping into a gray engineered structure or interventions. Then integrating the nature based solution as the solution to both climate and other crises require a new approach in terms of economic thinking. So this would allow shifting from a focus in terms of infinite economic growth to a recognition that the energy and material flows needed for human well-being, that and this must remain within a safe biophysical limit. So what we understand that this requires a new approach. There are a lot of nature based climate solutions which needs a new which needs little bit interventions in terms of ecological engineering, and they can, even if it comes with a little higher cost, we should adapt to this nature based solutions because these are the green and clean technologies. Now coming to several plans, yes, including many other states, the government of India also have several plans and programs in the line of nature based solutions to address to what you say, to match with the committed target as far as the our sustainable development goals and also the net zero targets are concerned. So several programs on protection and improvement of green cover, National Afforestation Program NAP, Green India Mission GIM, and Compensatory Afforestation Fund. These have already been there in terms of the they will be useful or mostly fall under our AFLU sector because used in terms of agriculture, forest and other land use modification and changes. So this National Afforestation Program, Green India Mission and Compensatory Afforestation Fund. Now this GIM, the Green India Mission under the National Action Plan for Climate Change is active in terms of NAPCC. Address CC by addressing the climate change by increasing the forest or tree cover and also by improving the quality of the forestry cover. It helps in terms of providing alternative fuel sources to the households, thereby less or reducing the emission from this fuel burn or from this biofuel burn in terms of household kitchen or food preparation. So climate resilient interventions in dairy sector in coastal and arid areas in Andhra Pradesh is going on. It is also at a state level, and also in the same state an integrated ecosystem based approach was adopted for enhancing the adaptive capacity of small and marginal farmers who are dependent on the dairy sector. So these overcomes in terms of the drought and the cyclone prone areas in Andhra Pradesh. So this kind of programs addresses to the extreme weather events such as drought and cyclone which comes or which is emerging out of the rising climate change. So both as an example in terms of Government of India as a nation and the Andhra Pradesh as a state, we quoted a few examples in terms of nature based solution that is addressing the or that is leading towards climate mitigation in the principle of nature based solutions. So, we have taken help of these two literature coming from the TERI and this particular publication. And to conclude, yes, we discussed all this including the nature based solutions and the various ways, the policy context, and as an example we tried to also take Indian example and two countries particularly from Bolivia and Tanzania. So, we have a lot of scope in terms of reducing the emission and the carbon as far as the target is concerned. So, we have seen that up to 19% have been potential in 19% in terms of emission from this FLU sector, but on the other side we are seeing about 20 to 30% potential in terms of nature based solution to address the climate mitigation. So, we have a plus. So, we need to understand, work on and overcome the barriers as far as the climate and governance thing, as far as the economic, finance and the governance things is concerned, so as to realize maximum benefit of this climate, maximum benefit of the nature based solution towards climate mitigation. Thank you very much.